If you go to Disney World, for instance, down there in the Haunted Mansion, you see the hologram, right? Oh, you know how to make a hologram. Well, our scientists have learned how to make people. They call them synthetics. Are you familiar with those?
Well, actually, we just interviewed John Lear, and he was talking about being in an audience in which they were given a lecture by a guy that they thought was real and found out later he was a hologram.
Well, it's a synthetic. A synthetics, when you touch their skin, it feels like plastic almost. That's the latest technique. The old techniques, if you guys can rent a video, the boys from Brazil, rent it, because in it, it gives you the exact way how our government's been making people.
Really?
Yeah,
well,
and the Soviets have a different method called...
I mean, making people meaning temporary people?
No, walking, talking ones.
Meaning through genetics? You're not talking about that?
Well, let me tell you. The movie shows it, but I'll share it with you right now.
All right.
All I need to do is take 2 cells off of your body, yours.
Uh-huh.
We give them a small electrical charge. I'm just don't act like a fertilized egg. If I got a fertilized egg, all I need is a receiver in order to make it. So they were hypnotizing women, said they were being invaded by aliens. And the fetus starts growing, right? Needs food. Well, they can use cows and sheep, too. Again, a food source. That's all we need. After about 14 weeks, all of a sudden, that fetus is gone. Because they've learned to take, that's when the fetus starts developing its own blood supply. Then they've used a pituitary hormone extract that they have, which accelerates the being that grows. And the original technology was given to our government by the Greys. Now, the reason was that our scientists were all excited because we could have spare parts. If you need a heart or a liver or anything, you won't have any rejection. It's your own DNA, right?
Okay, because theoretically, if we have overpopulation, we don't need more people, right?
But the so-called elite are selecting on who they want to have around anyway, so if we want to keep people going as long as we can. I talked to the doctor that was working on regeneration of Castro, for instance.
Right.
On the DNA sequencing. And they're just learning about this.
Well, my understanding is that a lot of presidents have already been replaced.
That's right.
Yeah,
I don't think...
They're walking around, they look old, but they basically, some of the people are just second, third copies.
I'll give you something to ponder. Get some old videos of George Bush, when he first came into office. Look at the person and listen to him speak. Look at his actions and listen to everything that's there. Now, it's a lot easier to put somebody out in front to act as even Bush did. He had somebody else that was up there acting like he is and look like it. Even Hitler had he had his stand. In fact, his stand-in was the one that they found in the ground over in Germany. I mean, Hitler and Eva and the dog and 14 other people got aboard a plane and flew down to Barcelona, Spain. You were aware of that. And then ended up in Antarctica or in Swabenland and then died a few years ago in Brazil.
That's what we heard.
I have all the documents from our own government.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a contact, one of our
Stalin
contacts.
Stalin asked for they tried to burn the body and he got the body back and he said, we had different ears and the testicles were different and everything else, so they knew it wasn't Hitler.
But is it a clone or not?
Oh, now going about cloning. Cloning techniques, since 1938, they've been making clone people. There's 8 countries making clones. I have a doctor friend that all he does is treat the clones.
Where do you get your information?
I get it from some of the people that are willing to come forth, and they talk to me because they hope I'll put the information out because they always got 2 people following them and maybe be killed. If I start talking about cloning too much, the people that get involved into that disappear on it. So I don't go into too many more details, but there is information that's available. And more and more of that's coming on the line. I just told you, go rent the movie.
Okay, Boys from Brazil.
Yeah, and you'll see the whole technique on what they show it to you in different places, so you can imagine what it's going on.
Okay, so...
Now let's go to the next step, because this is the most important part.
All right.
If your physical reality that you have, based on this physical life that you have, this dream, is made up of the experiences that is impregnated on your body and in your mind, consciously, right? Mm-hmm. Your soul memory is another thing. It goes back whatever time that you elected to be in this incarnation for whatever reason. Now let's show you the division on these things. Since the body is very physical, and we just got you making a physical being in a few months for spare parts, they said, now we've got the perfect deal. How can we have that work better? Well, if you go to the hospital today and get an encephalogram, what's that? That's the memory of your conscious mind. It's on the CD. Let's download it on this being. Now we got a walking, talking duplicate that has the total memory that you have, because we just took it off of your own mind.
Okay, it's like Blade Runner, the android.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that it's like this DVD recorder. Sometimes you have glitches in it. So you have to have them tuned up occasionally or redone. And so we take them to Camp David, or there's a wing at Bethesda Hospital to just tell you. If you go down there and check, you'll find the nurses, if they're willing to come forth, they'll tell you they work on those people, and they call them the others. I thought it was interesting. They're people. Remember, these people can think and act, but they don't
Sure.
have soul. That's also prophesized.
Right,
Soulless
that's
beings.
true. That's true.
Now we have another agenda that's going on, so you have to be careful of all this. There are many extraterrestrials that would like to be in on the game right now, so they can sometimes will come into these physical beings that we've made to manipulate them.
I see.
So now you have a combination effort that you have to look at, and discernment. You have to discern what the game is. Well, just figure that most of the leaders we have in the world have been bought and paid for or created to think a certain way.
And then it was such a hit. It was way bigger than I even anticipated. And now, I think we're gonna make part 2. I think you have to. I think you have to. They kill you if you try to walk away, and they clone you.
Excuse me, doctor, but what is impossible? What is impossible, doctor?
Mononuclear reproduction.
Doctor.
Cloning. What if I were to tell you that I could take a scraping of skin from your finger and create another Ezra Lieberman?
I would tell you not to waste your time or my finger.
Anyway, that is cloning. It was first done with plants. A cutting taken from a plant and transplanted grew to be the exact duplicate of the donor plant. Now we are doing the same thing with laboratory animals.
You mean you can produce an animal from itself?
We take the unfertilized egg of an ovulating female and destroy all of its genes and chromosomes. We then implant the nucleus of the donor cell, which could be taken from a blood sample or even a skin scraping. That cell, with its genetic material intact, eventually becomes an embryo and is born as a living creature.
Without parents?
Well, it has no father because the egg was never fertilized, no mother because its genetic code comes from another being. Can you follow that?
And this creature is an exact duplicate of itself? Oh, doctor, how can that be?
Come along. Our experiments began with the simplest of animals, shrimps and frogs. Animals in which the female's eggs are fertilized externally. Then we moved on to mammals. We tried several laboratory animals and found the rabbit most convenient. I had to develop instruments which could accomplish the operation, and a whole micro-injection system. I'll show you how it's done. Here we are removing the eggs of a white rabbit from the fallopian tubes. Now, you see the egg under a microscope. I've brought the point of an ordinary sewing needle into view to give an idea of size.
They are that small?
Most mammal eggs are about that size.
Including human eggs?
Yes. The next step is to destroy the egg nucleus with ultraviolet light so that none of its genetic makeup remains. Now you see an egg from a white rabbit ready to be injected with the blood cell from a black rabbit donor. With the injection pipette, one of the blood cells is sucked up and then injected into the egg. After a few hours, the eggs in culture divide and are ready to be put back into the female. There they grow into embryos, which in a month's time, the normal gestation period, they will become baby rabbits. In this instance, a black litter from a white mother and their black color proves that they have been cloned from the blood cell of a black rabbit.
But isn't it difficult to get the egg back into the female?
Transferring the eggs isn't a problem. We do that all the time with laboratory animals. The really tricky part is the microsurgery. Getting the donor cell into the egg. You're lucky if 1 in 10 survives.
And this can be done with humans?
If the surgical technique were precise enough.
It's monstrous, Doctor.
Why? Wouldn't you want to live in a world full of Mozarts and Picassos? Of course, it's only a dream. Not only would you have to reproduce the genetic code of the donor, but the environmental background as well. Is Mengele trying to reproduce himself?
No. He has brown eyes and he comes from a very wealthy family.
Let's examine the family background of the donor. Father is 65 years old, a civil servant. The mother is 42, you said. She dotes on the child. Boy. The boy is pale, dark hair, blue eyes, spoiled. Right? Now, Mengele would certainly know every social and environmental detail would have to be reproduced. Thus, if the parents were divorced when the boy was 10, this would have to be arranged.
Dr. Büttner, the one who is cloned, the donor, he has to be alive, doesn't he?
Not necessarily. Individual cells taken from a donor can be preserved indefinitely. With a sample of Mozart's blood and a woman, someone with the skill and the equipment could breed a few hundred baby Mozarts. My God, if it's really been done, would I give to see one of those boys?
And finally, questions about Biden's health persist. This after a video went viral on social media suggesting that President Biden has been replaced by a doppelganger who wears a mask designed to resemble the president. The video was posted by a conspiracy theory account on X, which is also followed by Donald Trump Jr. Now, MAGA supporters are backing the claim, and some of them actually believe that the commander-in-chief has multiple clones as well. Our final report gets you more details about this bizarre conspiracy theory.
U.S. President Joe Biden's awkward welcomes and zoned-out appearances have once again sparked discussions about his age and cognitive health. The 81-year-old Democrat, who is eyeing a second term in the Oval Office, is already the oldest sitting president in the nation's history. And now, with the recent viral videos showing him confused and lost, Biden is back under scrutiny ahead of the crucial November vote. In one such video, he freezes for about 30 seconds as others around him dance at the White House Juneteenth concert. In another clip, the U.S. president appears to be sleeping while sharing the stage with several world leaders to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day in Normandy. Biden also made gaffes at the G7 summit in Italy just last week with his awkward salute and handshake with Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Now, fueling Biden's health concerns are conspiracy theories surfacing all over social media. Without any concrete proof, many social media users are claiming that it's not Biden, but his body double in these viral videos. A widely circulated video on X, formerly known as Twitter, suggests that Biden is being impersonated through mask technology that's used by the Central Intelligence Agency. The video claims to show documentation depicting changes in Biden's appearance, such as his earlobes, chin, skin texture, teeth, wrinkle lines, and even his signature. The viral video has garnered over 9 million views in just one day. However, it's worth noting that the account that posted the clip on X is run by a conspiracy theorist and is followed by Donald Trump Jr. and Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. Meanwhile, netizens have also weighed in on the theory and have given mixed reactions. Some say Biden has undergone a bad surgery and Botox, while others claim it's not the president but his clone. One user said Biden's changed appearance could be explained by different lighting, expressions, and camera angles. Now, this is hardly the first time that suspicion about Biden's body double has surfaced. Last year, a similar absurd claim went viral on social media that suggested the Democratic leader had been replaced by a man who wears a mask designed to resemble the president. This was after a news clip of Biden's return to the US from Israel gained significant attention. But now, with the presidential election less than 5 months away, the doppelganger conspiracy theory has taken center stage in a bid to weaken the Democrats' re-election campaign.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political...
We always talk about disguise as though it's an onion. Whether you're building it or whether you're peeling it off. It's almost transparent layers. And when you get enough of them going, you disappear and this other person is in the room. My name is Jonna Mendez, and I was Chief of Disguise at the CIA. In my role as Chief of Disguise, my major concern was always protecting people, protecting our case officers who were going into situations that might be dangerous, but importantly, protecting the foreign people that we were meeting with, who were very often risking their lives. If you were working in Europe and you were meeting with a clandestine source at a cafe, your biggest concern might be that your next door neighbor was going to wander into that cafe at that moment and say, "Hi, Bill," when you weren't Bill. And that kind of casual stumbling upon people was an issue. And so you'd wear what we called light disguise. Light disguise can be something as simple as a wig, maybe some facial hair, maybe some glasses, not a big deal. The other extreme is advanced disguise that you would use for up close and personal for an extended period of time, where the person you were talking to would have no idea that you were not in true face. One of the things that was going on when I was Chief of Disguise was an enormous research program into the new advanced disguise system. It was basically the masks that everybody always wondered if we used masks, and this was the beginning. This is a series of photographs of when I met George H.W. Bush in the Oval Office and revealed to him that I was briefing him wearing a mask. When you go to disguise a person, the general idea is that you're going to meet with someone in this disguise, and they're going to write a memo of the person that they just met with. We want every item in that memo that describes you to be wrong. If we're looking at a man and we want to change the way he looks, start at the top, and the first thing that comes up is hair. What's he got, and what do you want to do with it? If he has curly hair, you want to go straight. If he has dark hair, you might want to go light. If he's young, you might want to throw in some gray. If he's old, you might want to cover up the gray. Do you present with facial hair? If you don't, maybe we're going to give you some. If you're going to be somewhere for a while, maybe we're going to have you grow some. We have made prostheses on occasion. You could actually change cheekbones. You can add something here. You can add a forehead. You can do a nose. We could do what we call dental facades. We can change actually the shape of your face with the right dental facade. This piece is called a plumper because it increases the plumpness of your gums. And when it does that, it changes the profile of your face. The last thing is artificial palates. We take an impression of the top of your mouth. They can change your enunciation. They can cause a slight lisp. It's a little bit different with everybody who wears one, but if it's enough, it's very useful. We very often discover that older looking men are considered less threatening than younger looking men, so we like to age a person. With women, you have a broader range of what you can do. You also have one extra step, and you can turn a woman into a man. I would mention that it's almost impossible to turn a man into a woman. What we do is always additive. We can make you taller, we can make you heavier, we can make you older. We can't go the other direction. You want to be the person that gets on the elevator and then gets off, and nobody really remembers that you were even there.